Here we are, somewhat saved.
Week 4.
Calling in chaos.
Let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm. We keep calling this the fun episode.
I think it is. You don't think it is?
I mean, I think it's fun.
Okay.
But it's literally called Calling in Chaos.
Yeah. If they saw episode 1, they understand what our chaos is, though.
Yeah. No, yeah.
If you didn't see episode 1, go listen or watch it, because that one was our chaos.
That was chaos.
So, yeah.
That was chaotic.
Yeah.
All right. Are we just diving in?
Yeah, let's do it.
What did you think calling was supposed to look like?
See, this one is fun, because this is funny. Yours isn't funny. You go first.
I mean, no, you go first. No, I want to see what direction you take it first.
Oh, okay. What did I think calling was? What was it?
Yeah, what did you think calling was supposed to look like?
I thought it was supposed to be cute and like wrapped in a bow, and then you just get it.
Yeah.
So I thought it was like
a little letter delivered to you.
Yeah. Like, oh, you're gonna be a female pastor at a church. Boom.
Yeah. Done.
Here's a little bow. Go preach.
Yeah. Go do it.
Yeah. And I was ready to be. I mean, I
Yes.
still am ready, but it definitely did not look as cute as that. So
yeah,
I was like, yeah, God said it, so why are we not listening to it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was supposed to be clean cut.
I don't know. I guess I kind of agree with that. I don't know. I don't know if I ever really thought about it.
I had this illustration in my head. It's like when you cook a Christmas cookie and you do like a cutout of a cookie. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then it goes in the oven and it ends up not looking like the cookie cutter. That's what happened.
Yeah. That's what happened, or that's what you thought it was supposed to be?
No, I thought it was supposed to look like the cookie cutter.
Yeah. And then it wasn't.
And then it melted. And it was like, here it is. It's still your calling. It just looks a little different.
It's a little mingled.
Yeah. A little flattened
but it
out
still
a bit.
tastes good.
Yeah, exactly. Same calling. It just looks a little different. Yeah.
You still put frosting on it.
See? Same cookie, just different. That's a good illustration.
That was good, actually.
That's exactly what it is.
I don't think I really ever thought about it until I was like, oh, no, this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. You know?
Did that feel scary or exciting?
I think it was scary because I didn't want to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Like being called into ministry specifically.
Yeah.
It was the thing that I said I would never going to do.
Yeah.
Literally, like I did an internship because I needed a paycheck through COVID. And then halfway through it, I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be a pastor. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that that's where my life was going to go. I just liked hanging out with middle schoolers.
I think
and
the
then
idea
it sent me on a spiral being like, oh, I'm supposed to be an executive pastor.
And you're like,
I just like to lead a small group though.
I'm really in here.
Yeah. Can I go back to that?
Yeah. That's really interesting because I do think ministry didn't scare me, but specifically pastor scared me. I think the Catholic in me came out and was like, women are distractions and they're not meant to be pastors. They're not meant to be pastors. They shouldn't marry the priest. Like that's, and I think I was like, I don't want to fight for that.
Well, I think that was part of it for me too. Like I never saw a female pastor. Yeah. So I didn't really know. I didn't understand. Yeah. I didn't know what it meant to be a pastor. Yeah. Because I just saw these men who were kind of bad men doing it.
If you didn't listen to our episode on church hurt, you can go back to episode 2.
And I'm like, oh, you can be a woman and you can do it good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really funny. Yeah, see, we became melted cookies, but the cookies are still good. Yeah. And same calling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it just looks different.
Did you ever believe you had to be healed, stable, or ready before God could use you? No.
What?
I mean, I guess it's after I realized I was called into ministry.
You said that so sure.
That was like the after. I guess before, I don't know. Okay, you go. What were you going to say?
No, wait.
I feel like this episode is you just judging me.
First of all, I'm not judging you.
Did you ever believe
we haven't talked about this stuff. That's
or ready before God could use you? No, I don't think I ever believed that.
That's good. No, that's healthy. That's really good.
I had to reread it and be like, did I misinterpret that?
See, we talked about this a few episodes back. In this situation, you're saved and I'm somewhat. I'm not judging you. That's good. I'm shocked. I'm not judging you. I'm jealous. Live in time, I'm jealous. That's crazy.
I don't know. I'm thinking of like the things I've seen God do, and it's never for perfect people. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I mean, theologically, yeah, I agree with you. Human Brittany absolutely has felt all of those things. I think I still feel that way when we got pregnant with Remy even, and I knew since I was like a little girl that I wanted to be a mom, and I was called to be a mom. Even when I was fighting for being a pastor, I was like, this isn't even the first calling I have. Like, I know my first calling is to be a mom, but we were going through infertility. And so I was getting frustrated because I was like, I'm fighting for this calling that God called me to, and I'm not even getting the other one either. He called me to that also. Yeah. And I think when I got pregnant with Remy, it was still, but I'm not as great as that person and they're still not pregnant, or I'm not as great as that person and they pray more than me. I think I definitely go through that a lot. I think it's like imposter syndrome with your calling. I definitely feel that often where I'm like, oh no, or like I cuss all the time, and I know I'm called to preach, and so one day I'm going to be preaching on a stage and I'm like, that's crazy because I cuss like a sailor.
You might drop an F-bomb on stage.
It's a risk. No, I definitely go through that. I think like logically when I sit down and go through this is like comes back to like our personalities though too. Like you are very logical and I'm very emotional, and I think like logically when I sit down and think about it, I'm like, no, because look at all the proof in the Bible.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like every story in the Bible is people who didn't have it together, but God still showed up, and they still did what they're called to do.
I feel like I resonate a lot with the woman at the well, and I don't think that she felt like she was good enough at any point, even after it happened. I think she was like, what, me? So I feel like that's
the
me.
Wrong woman.
I feel like that's me. So
no, that makes sense. How has real life disrupted your expectations of calling? I feel like I'm just gonna say this every episode, but my insecurities.
Listen, we were boasting in our weaknesses. Paul told us to.
My insecurities really get in my way and make me question if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, if I'm doing what I'm called to do. But that's the chaos part, right?
I think, that makes sense, because I feel it too, like with insecure. I'm trying not to say the same answer as you. That's the real issue here, is I'm trying to come up with something else. I just think a lot of women are going to relate to that. Like, we get triggered by certain situations at work, we get triggered by situations at home, we get triggered in our personal lives, we get like there's triggers everywhere all the time, and I think they just bring out the worst in us sometimes. I think in this season I'm trying to figure out how becoming a mom doesn't stop me from my calling. I think there was a long period in her first year of life that I was like, am I supposed to be a stay-at-home mom? Am I not supposed to be working? And even now, like, we still talk about it all the time. Like, am I going to be a stay-at-home mom this next year? Like, I don't know what the future holds. And I think not allowing that to dictate what I'm still called to do. Like, even if all of our jobs change, and even if my daughter stays at home with me full time, like, I am still called to care for people. I'm still called to love people. I'm still called to be a pastor. It just looks different. And I think embracing that it looks different is probably how we avoid real life getting in the way. There's no perfect way to live out your calling. So
well, and I think the thing that we talk about all the time with other women too is imposter syndrome. Like, we always just feel like we're not good enough, or we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. But that's not true.
And nobody thinks that. Nobody like, if you ask people what their perception is of you, you're going to be surprised about how great they think you are, or how much you can handle.
What kinds of chaos were present when you first sensed God's calling?
Oh my gosh. I think for me, the specific calling I want to focus on, because here's also the thing that we didn't really address at the beginning, and maybe we should, I don't know, is that I feel like you can have multiple callings. Like, I feel like being called to be a mom, being called to be a wife, being called to be a CEO, being called to be a pastor, like, all of those can coexist with one another. And so the one that I want to focus on, and also our very first calling, is to love God and then love people. So, like, everybody has that calling. But I think the calling I want to focus on for this particular question is the pastoral one. Me realizing I'm supposed to be a pastor. I started ministry in communications. And so when I realized I was supposed to be a pastor, I was actually doing social media, and I joined this cohort. And in this cohort, I was with these other women who were pursuing pastoral ministry. Everybody was doing something different. Everyone had like jobs in the corporate world or served at a high capacity volunteer. And every single person in our cohort walked out, it was like 7 of us, walked out feeling this call in ministry that was a lot stronger than they did before. And that looked different for all of them. But there was a small group in that small group of us that were like, oh, we're going to be pastors. And it was like the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. Because I came home and I was like, was like, I don't know what this looks like. I don't know how to do it. My bachelor's degree is in pre-law, like something totally different. I was like, I'm still in debt. I'm still currently, like, even at the time I was still in debt, but still currently in debt from that degree. Like, I was like, there's no way I'm going to go back to school for pastoral ministry. I was like, has anyone heard my story? Like, I remember feeling God be like, this is what you're going to do. And me being like, did you see all that mess that you made over there that you didn't help me clean up? I don't understand what you mean. So I feel like the chaos in my life when I remember the call was very like, I was in like some deep, like we just moved across the country. I was in like some deep reflective trauma from my childhood. I was like, what do you mean? Me?
Yeah.
And I had to tell, this is the thing too, like having to come back from this little cohort trip, tell my husband that I want to do a career change, basically, tell my family, tell my boss, hope that they had a job. Hope that they'd let me try it. Yeah. I'd never done it before. Yeah, it was a whole thing. What about for you?
Yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of chaos. Yeah. I mean, when I first felt it, it was in the middle of COVID. Yeah. So the world was just a mess. Yeah. And I mean, people didn't really know what the future of the church was at that point because church wasn't happening. I mean, it wasn't happening in Washington. And I was just doing an internship to make sure students were okay during this. Like, the role that I was taking on was just making sure these students were safe and were still seen, even though they were stuck in their house. So there was that chaos, but then there was the chaos of there's just like a lot of politics at play at the church I was at. Yeah. And people were telling certain people that they weren't called to be a pastor. And so I was like, if you're telling those people that they can't be a pastor and I see myself in them, like, that's a problem for me. There's just learning who my people were and figuring out that I actually was being called to be a pastor, even if there were people around me saying, no, that's not possible for you. So just getting through that noise was the chaos.
Yeah, that's a lot of chaos.
It was chaos all around. And obviously I figured it out and got through it, and everyone involved in that is in better places now. I think there's always going to be a level of chaos when it comes to figuring out what God's calling you to, because it's you figuring out if it's from God or not. Yeah. So I think it's important, even if it's messy.
Yeah, I agree. I also think if like a non-Christian becomes a Christian and they like all of a sudden have all of these things happening in their lives that distracts them or pulls them away from Jesus, like, and they're not spiritually developed enough to know that that's spiritual warfare. Like, I almost feel like it makes sense that chaos comes with the calling because it is a test. Like, I literally think every time I hear of someone's calling story, I think of Job. Yeah. Because I'm like, that's what happened. Like, he, like, literally God was like, yep, go ahead, test him. Yeah. I know he's faithful. Like, that's, because you just know, like, all of a sudden there's this clarity in your mind. You see it clearly. You're like, that's what I'm going to do. It makes sense. I feel like that all these distractions and things come up to try and make you not do it.
Did you ever feel disqualified because your life didn't look put together? Yes. I'm just answering all of these in one question.
Absolutely.
Yes. No. Yep. Did you ever feel disqualified? Yeah, I think that just goes back to the imposter syndrome. Like, we don't feel good enough because we're like, God is big. Yeah. I can never live up to that because I'm not that big. Like, what are God's expectations for me? Oh, they're just to show up. Cool. I can do that. I think once you get over that hill, a lot of things unlock for you.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think pastoral ministry is interesting because, like you said, like, you went from, like, student pastor to knowing that you're being called into executive pastor ministry. And, like, I feel like mine's hopped around a lot, but I feel like the only consistent one that I've had the entire time has been women's pastor. Like, I've always loved that. Like, that's, like, one of the first places I ever got connected at a church was women's ministry. And I think when I felt that initial call of being a pastor, that was the first thing that came to my mind too, especially growing up in, like, pageant world. And, like, I've just always been
around women.
Yeah. I'm just team women. And I think, like, that I remember feeling and thinking to myself, I'm 3 years into infertility and you're calling me to be a pastor of other women. I'm not even good enough to be a mom. Like, what am I doing? And I think, like, those are real emotions at every stage of life. Like every single stage of life, there's going to be some thought that crosses your mind that's like, no, you can't do this. Like, you're not good enough. But that's not from God. Like those are almost like the test. Like if you don't have physical chaos going on in your life during the call that you feel, it's probably mental. There's probably like a mental block happening that's like, no, you shouldn't do this because XYZ. Or like for a long time I was like, I'll never preach on a stage because of the things I did in high school and college. Like they don't want that on stage. But yeah, it's not true.
And I think like when you are thinking of the things that like disqualify you or whatever, like for me, it's just finding a way to use my gifts and talents and the things that God gave me in the way, in like the positions that I'm in now. Like, yes, I'm being called into executive leadership. Am I probably a while away from that? Yeah. But I can use those skills now and
lean into it.
Do the things I like to do now to prepare me for that time. So I think that even if I'm not in the position that I want to be in now,
there's still
I can still prepare and God's still wanting me to use those gifts and talents now.
Yeah, that's good.
How did comparison affect your sense of calling?
I'm bad at comparison. I got it down bad. I've had several meetings with multiple bosses about like, you can't compare me to other people. It will destroy me. Because I think that's probably like the pageant world coming out from the ages of 7 to 20 years old. That's all I was doing was competing in pageants. And comparison really gets to me pretty easily too. I think with being a pastor though, at the time of me becoming a pastor, there was one other female pastor. And I don't think I had it that bad actually when it was happening. I think the problem was actually that, and I think I had this epiphany this year. I think the problem was actually that I was comparing myself to men.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I was comparing myself to male pastors because they were all we really had and they're all I've really ever witnessed. And so I think I was trying to put myself in a box of like how men lead. But the fact of the matter is I have to be a pastor and I have my period. I have to be a pastor and I was pumping. I have to be a pastor and I'm nursing. I have to be a pastor and I'm pregnant. Like there was like things that men just can't do that women can. And I think women are designed to be adaptable. And I think women are designed to continuously transform into what God is calling them to be. It's always becoming. Women are always becoming. And I think that's different for men. I think that looks different for men. I think the obstacles they face are different. And I think when you don't have enough female pastors in your organization or in your church that you go to, it can be really difficult for the females trying to be pastors because there's no actual leadership to compare to. Yeah, there's not. And even still, there's not as many as there should be because it's hard to find guest speakers that are females. It's hard to find female pastors to come in for women's events. It's hard to find female pastors who get it and are going to be vulnerable and also be pastors. Like, it's just not really there still.
Yeah, I think for me, I was going to say, I feel like I compare myself to men a lot because I do want to go into executive leadership, and that's the only example I really have is men in those roles. So, but the problem that I run into is they still want me to be a woman. like those qualities. Like, I can't act like a man does. I can't walk into a room and be like, this is how it has to go. I have to come in softer because otherwise they just see me as coming in coming in too hot.
There are definitely double standards with how male lead and women lead. Like I think we are both very bold leaders, and I think
like we're both gonna come in and tell you how it is.
Yeah, and that's misunderstood. But if a man does it, it's like, wow, they're a great leader and they know exactly what they're talking about and they're very confident. But I don't think anyone has ever described me as confident, over vocal or bold or outspoken.
Yeah. So the comparison that we kind of feel is the men comparing us to the other female pastors, being like, well, you're not like that. You're not like that. Yeah. And then it just gets us into this little box.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do think too, like, I think proof of this in the capital C church being an issue actually is when male speakers, like male pastors who preach, you'll often hear them say like that they have people they listen to, like pastors that they listen to, and they need to make sure that they keep their voice the same, or they need to make sure they keep their tone their own. And women don't do that. Yeah. I don't really know any women that are like, I'm afraid of sounding like XYZ because we don't have enough.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sound
a problem.
I'm not going to sound like Christine Kane because have you heard her?
Yeah. Nobody's going
to sound like her. Yeah, she's phenomenal. Like she's anointed, but like also there's only 5 of those kinds of women speakers that like I'm not going to lose my voice because we don't have enough of them. Yeah. No, but yeah, comparing with men. Woo.
That's the real
And we should not do that because we're not wired the same. Even if we are similar personalities.
They don't bleed once a month.
That's what I'm saying.
They don't just want to cry for no reason.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. If we do become softer, then we're too emotional. Yeah. So like, come on now, you know? Yeah. Like, we're just complex individuals and it's a gift from God.
How did comparison affect your sense of calling? I don't know if it did for me. My calling for executive leadership has never changed. Like from when I realized I was being called to a pastor, it was I want to be an executive pastor because my executive pastor at the time sucked and I didn't want anyone to ever feel the way that he made anyone feel. So it was out of pettiness.
Boasting in our weakness.
But because of that, I learned that I do have these skills and I do like doing these things and these things give me life. And so it was just like solidified that it was actually my calling. But I don't think I guess maybe that is a kind of comparison too, that I was being like, I don't want to be like him. So it's like the opposite of comparison. So maybe it did now that I'm processing out loud right now.
But in a different way, not like the stereotypical way. Yeah, I think mine actually, because I said it a little bit ago, like my call of what kind of pastor, like what ministry pastor I wanted to be has changed quite a bit. But I actually don't think it has. And I think the rooted one, the first one, was women's pastor. And I actually think comparison is the reason it changed so much. Comparing myself to the organization I worked for of like, oh, they don't see me as a women's pastor or they don't want a women's pastor. So I'll be this pastor instead, or I'll do this kind of ministry instead. And then once I got there, I was like, oh, well, obviously they want this kind of female instead of me. And like, I think comparison has driven my entire like circle of figuring out that I'm supposed to be a women's pastor and I'm supposed to be a women's pastor exactly how I'm designed, not by trying to be all these other things. Fit the organization. Yeah. And I was going to say, I think August, like, I talk about August all the time on here. Literally every episode I've talked about August. I feel like August and the burnout season that I was in was because I was trying to be a different piece to the puzzle. Like I wasn't doing the calling that I was actually called to. And I do think the areas that I succeed in the most, or the areas that I notice God using me the most, are all women ministry oriented. So
how do you know the difference between being called and being overextended?
I don't think God calls us to burn out.
Yeah.
How can he use us if we're burnt out? I think actually how I can tell if I'm in an unhealthy place, environment, mentally, like all of those ways, is if I don't think about how God took a Sabbath. If I'm not reminding myself God took a Sabbath, then I'm not doing well because I'm forgetting the very first book in the Bible. Like I'm forgetting
Page 1.
Literally like the very first book that tells me he took a moment. Like that's what we're supposed to do. And I don't think Jesus died for us to die burning out. I don't believe in,
especially for him, like to extend ourselves for his glory. But right now I'm in a season where I'm doing a lot. Like there's a lot going on, but like I don't feel overextended. Like it's stuff that I'm excited about. So I think that plays into it a little bit too. In other seasons, if I was doing all the stuff I'm doing now, I probably would be feeling overextended and close to burnout. But I think that when we truly are doing it for the right reasons, God honors that. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think the posture matters. Yeah. I think if you're going into it with a posture of proving yourself, or
if you're just doing it to climb a ladder or to whatever, but if you're doing it because you truly think it's important, I think that God does something with that. Have you ever said yes to something God didn't ask you to carry?
Yes.
I was gonna say
my last job. My last job for 2 years of my life. I don't think he asked me to carry that. I think he asked me to become a pastor, and I said, where can I become a pastor? And I did.
Yeah.
And I think he honored me in a lot of ways. I think he honored me in a lot of ways for being obedient. And I think he saved me and was merciful in a lot of ways through that calling. But I've always had this weird dynamic with God where, like, when I was doing social media, it felt very apparent that he was no longer calling me to that because, like, for the church, because I lost my creativity. I lost, like, all of my ideas, my momentum. I was like, I'm stuck. I can't come up with anything. And I was having, like, a mental breakdown about it because I was like, I'm done. I was like, I can tell I'm done because he's not helping me. He's not giving me ideas. He's not pushing me forward. And I was doing everything. I was reading the books. I was watching YouTube videos. I was, like, reading newsletters on how to become a better social media manager for a church. And nothing worked. And I kind of felt that similarly in this job. I felt like it was like, oh, every single time you go to work, you're tired. Every single time you do something, you're burnt out. Like, every single thing feels heightened, and it shouldn't. Everything that felt natural to me was no longer natural to me. So very similarly, I was like, oh, I'm saying yes for too long. Like, maybe I said yes originally because that was the way to get me in. But I was saying yes to too long.
I think that's true. I think for me, like, this past summer, I was very burnt out. And I think it was because I felt the weight of the ministry was solely on my shoulders. And that was not true. I had a whole team. I'm on a team of 7 people. But I was like, if I drop the ball anywhere, this whole ministry is going to fall apart. But that's not true. That wasn't what was going to happen. I just wasn't fully aligned with the rest of the team. So it was causing me to panic. And that wasn't what God was calling me to do. Like, that's not the actual situation that was happening. I was just in this weird little headspace where I'm like, if I don't hold everything this close, then it's all going to crumble. So it was just this weird little, it wasn't little, it was like 6 months. Being like, well, what the heck is going on? But yeah, God wasn't asking me to carry that. It wasn't real. I wasn't in reality at that time.
Or even, like, the weight of, like, transitions. Like, we both have had a lot of jobs in different churches. And I think that, like, whenever you leave a position that you've built up with systems and volunteer teams, and you've, like, built it up, it is the most terrifying. And I think the weight of it is not a weight God asks anyone to carry. It is the most terrifying thing to hand off. And God is not asking us to carry the weight of what happens next. Like, he's asking us to release it, and we're not, you know, like, we're like, I did this, I built it, like, someone else is going to ruin it. And actually, that's biblical. They do that, and it's okay. And God's going to use them too. So, like, it doesn't really matter. But
it's scary in the moment.
For sure.
What does it look like to have a real calling and real limits at the same time? I feel like that's real for you right now. I think that that's just life. Like, that's gonna happen in every aspect of your life. Like, you're gonna have limits and boundaries in every area, so it's no different than what God calls us to do too. But maybe some of that is rooted in insecurities too. But
I think there's a difference of, like, limits in your capacity though. Like, I think your capacity, because I think, like, this is what I'm feeling right now in my life is like, my capacity is really high. I'm a high capacity. I'm high functioning. I can handle a lot. But I think in this season of my life, God is like, your limit needs to be focused on your child and not all of these people that are my children. They're mine, and you have one at home that I gave you. So, like, you need to pay attention to her.
Take care of the one.
Exactly. And and a little bit of me, like, I've alluded to this with Dustin before, but, like, a little bit of me has been very like, Remy, my daughter, is like the one, and I'm leaving the 99. Like, he tells us to leave the 99 for the one, okay? And so that's what I'm doing. Quite literally, the volunteer team I just left is that many people, so it feels very, like, illustrative in my life. But yeah, I don't think capacity necessarily defines limits, and vice versa. I think limits can be situational. And I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad to balance them and know your limits. I think it's like what we talked about earlier with posture. Like, if your posture is, like, aware of who you're serving, which is not the church you work at or the company you work at, it is God. If you're aware of who you're serving and he's telling you to rest or set better boundaries, like, that's what you need to do. and he'll figure out the rest.
Yeah. What did obedience look like in your most chaotic season?
You can go first.
I literally thought you were gonna walk away.
I'd like to leave. I'd like to leave the podcast right now. Yeah. I almost did. I thought about it for a second.
To not walk away. I mean, if we're being real, I think that was. I mean, that's literally what I was gonna do. I was gonna walk away from Jesus. Yeah. Yeah. If I didn't get out of that messy place, I was gonna be done. I was like, ministry's too hard. If this is what ministry is, then I don't want anything to do with Jesus, because it shouldn't be this hard if it's from God. Yeah, so obedience was staying. Obedience in your messy, chaotic season.
You're looking at it. I do feel like this is current. I feel like the messiest season of my life is right now. And it's not a very like public facing one yet. And I think I don't know how to explain it, but I think my husband would also say it's messy, like for our family. Yeah. And yet we have a lot of peace about it, and we have a lot of trust in it. And I think our obedience is just taking it day by day, one step at a time. I heard this talk the other day of this woman that was talking about the feeding the 5,000. And it really hit me because right after this talk, I went and found Kaya, and I was like, listen to this talk. Let me tell you about it. And she was saying how even when the disciples were like panicking over like, oh, there's 5,000 people. How are we going to do this? There's so many people. Jesus was like, break it down into groups of 50. And she was saying like, we need to do that too. And like break down the mess that we're looking at. Like whatever it is that we think we can fix, whatever it is that we are trying to work on, like we have everything we need, and we just need to break it down. And so I feel like in this season specifically, that message really spoke to me, and the fact that we are currently trying to be obedient by breaking it down and just going day by day. Yeah. But yeah, this is the messiest season of my life. So
what are some ways your calling has changed or shifted? I think for me, like being an executive pastor has never wavered. I've never gone for that, but it has shifted from just focused on that to, I don't know how to word this. Like I'm very female pastor focused. Like I think it's very important, and I think that has guided a lot of the decisions that I make and the path that I take. Like I'm always going to stand up for the women in the room, and I think that has become part of my calling too. Just because when we became pastors, we were the only ones. Like we were creating the path. Yeah. And it caused like a lot of hurt and whatever, but it was to make it better for the people after us. Yeah. And I think that has really, we don't talk about this all the time, but I think that has guided a lot of the direction that I go in. Yeah. And the way that I think and perceive the world around me is where the women. Yeah. And I'll always be the first one to be like, there's no women on stage, there's no women on this, like whatever it is, to be like point it out. And I even say like,
and you're good at not tokenizing either. You're not like, oh, there needs to be a woman just because there's a woman. Like you're like, oh, that person should have been in the room and she's a woman. Yeah.
And like I don't like to teach, but like the reason that I teach is because I'm like, the students need to hear a female perspective. Yeah. And so that's literally the only reason why I teach.
Yeah. I do agree. Watching that calling come out of you too, just caring for women and making sure that they're being spoken up for and taken care of. Well, I've even felt it in my postpartum journey with like my postpartum journey, like navigating how to work in ministry and like be a mom. And you're like, this is what should be happening. Like, it's good. It's good to have that though, especially because it's not talked about. Yeah. And if the next generation is going to come up and lead these churches, like they need that. Yeah. They need to know that the women are cared for.
What are some ways your calling has changed or shifted?
Oh yeah, mine's changed a lot.
It's like you don't have anything. You already said it changed.
Yeah, it has changed a lot. Yeah, my first calling ever in life, besides obviously the biblical one that we're all called to love God and love people, is to be a mom. And when that wasn't happening, it just was really obvious in this cohort that I was called to be a pastor. And I think I've known the whole time that it was supposed to be women's pastor, but I think different environments and different cultures and different people will like kind of discourage you and challenge you from that, especially if it's not normal in the organization that you're part of or in the church that you're part of, or even with people. Just take out like church as a whole, like even if it's just people that you know that have never witnessed a women's pastor, like it's just a very niche pastoral job. And so I think the discouragement and the comparison really drove me into trying out other roles. Every single time I just go back to women's ministry. So I think it's changed a lot. And I think every single time God is like, you're not listening to me. And I'm like, I'm listening. Can you tell everyone else, please? And that can be kind of aggravating, but I think that's part of it. And I think I've grown a lot. And I get to say like all of those things like I've done. I get to show numbers of success. I get to talk about the miracles that I got to witness because I was part of those teams. But I am definitely just in the season of embracing my calling as a mom right now, and then trusting that one day the calling of being a women's pastor will come to life someday. But
what happens when you still feel called but your role changes? I don't think I've experienced this as much as you have. My role hasn't changed. I mean, it did, but it wasn't.
It did, and it was pretty dramatic.
It wasn't.
It was like
it solidified my calling for me. Like it let me step into my gifts. Yeah. More than what I was doing before. Yeah. I was just running middle school before. I was a middle school pastor, and my role shifted to student ministry operations, which is more executive pastor
of student ministry, basically.
Yeah.
That's true. So you got to find them.
Yeah. So it didn't change my calling. It just solidified it for me.
This one's a hard one. I just feel like there's a lot of layers to this one. I don't feel like any of the roles I don't feel like any of the roles have changed my calling. I feel like the roles have tried to change my calling. Yeah. And I think that's like why I say there's layers. I think this question is kind of like a tender. It's a tender question. I don't know why it sounds so weird.
I mean, I think that this season for you is just also solidifying your calling to be a women's pastor. Yeah. Like the roles that you were in before weren't fully getting to that, but it didn't waver. You were like figuring it out.
Yeah. I think I've had some very key moments in my lifetime where I've thought to myself, I'm supposed to be a women's pastor. And I think God has been really sweet to me in the last 6 months of battling burnout and severe depression and getting on medication and getting therapy and getting hours cut and changing my job to give me moments and glimpses of showing me, not necessarily proving, like not proving himself to me, he doesn't need to do that, but like showing me that is what I'm supposed to be doing as women's ministry. Like there have just been these little moments with these specific women in my life that have been so sweet and delicate and just like, oh yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do, and that didn't take anything out of me, and I want to do that for the rest of my life. I want to do that every single day for the rest of my life. And so I do think you're right. I think it's been solidifying it for me. But I definitely think this question is like, because I do feel like it's painful when, and I'm glad, honestly, like as we're talking with this, like talking out loud about it, I'm like, oh, I'm glad it hasn't changed my calling. I'm glad I didn't fall for it to change my calling. Yeah. But the roles that I've been put in have definitely attempted to change my calling and to change who I am. And, yeah, and I just don't think they have, and I think that is because I leaned on God so heavily in it, but yeah, that's a hard one.
What does hidden faithfulness look like?
It's showing up, it's being faithful to what you're currently doing. Yeah. It's stewarding everything you have right now while you have it. And it is just praying to God every night that things will work out. I don't think I've ever prayed more in my life than the last like 2 weeks. And by the time you guys are listening to it, it's going to be a month and a half. So a lot. I've been praying a lot. It's a lot. I don't know. These kinds of things are hard when you're in the middle of them and you're like, oh, I can't really talk about this, but God's doing something and I know he's doing something. And
what have you learned about God's character in chaotic seasons? Well, in my most chaotic seasons, I just have to get back to the fact that he's not going to give up on me. So I can stay in this chaotic season.
I literally thought you were going to say, he's not going to give up. He's relentless.
He won't leave me alone. Yeah.
Take that however you want. He won't leave you alone. We are indeed experiencing God very differently in these seasons, because I feel like you're like, he won't leave me alone. Aw, he like won't give up on me. And I'm like, he will not leave me alone.
I mean, we were both in very different seasons right
Kick him out. He's like a guest that I told to leave an hour ago, and he hasn't. Okay, anyways, keep going.
I don't know.
Yours is very sweet.
Like, but I think that's true. Like, when I'm in my chaotic seasons, I try to run away from him, and he says, no, you can't do that. Says, get back here. How has chaos clarified your calling instead of canceling it? Yeah, I think it just goes back to the solidifying it for me. Like, if I can make it out of that, I can make it through anything.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like those seasons come after the most chaotic season. Like, the last time I was questioning it was right after summer camp, where all I want to do is curl up in a little ball and cry for days and days and days and days, because summer camp is hard. But then I get out of that and I'm like, oh no, I really actually enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I think it is just solidifying it and not being like, no, instead.
Yeah, that's good.
That was probably a chaotic answer.
No, you can see like purpose in it now that you've gone through it. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think my answer to this is very similar to the last, a couple ones ago, or the last one, I don't remember. God just gives me these moments with these women that are like, oh, this is what I'm meant to do. And I think usually when I have shared them with Dustin, or even like I've shared a couple with my mom, and I think both get like worried. They're like, don't pour too much out, or don't pour from an empty cup, you know? And I just, every single time I just like realize like, oh, I'm not though. Yeah. And that's what's so solidifying it for me, of like, oh, this is actually what I'm meant to do, because it's not taking the life out of me to do it. So yeah, similar, it just solidifies it. But I do think God's given me a few little glimpses to help clarify it in the middle of the chaos. He'll like give me these little, he knows I'm pretty flaky as a human. I'm pretty flaky as a person. And I think he just is like, I need to just give her a little glimpse, and then she can see that I'm doing something in it. It's gonna be okay. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, thank you. I needed that.
What would you say to someone who feels like their life is too messy to be used by God?
Listen, girl. Should I just drop my whole resume here? Or God can definitely use you. Yeah. There is literally no mess too big. Yeah. We know so many people that God has used. Yeah. And none of us are worthy. And we're all being used anyways. Yeah. So I don't think that's...
And I feel like God chooses to use those stories. Yeah. To do crazy stuff. Yeah. So I think they're important.
Yeah, I think he does like surprising people. Yeah. Because they're like good surprises. Yeah. They're
those
like
are always the best stories.
Yeah.
How do you listen to God when your life is loud? You see, I'm really bad at this. Because sometimes when life is crazy, I just forget to go to God. I feel like some people are like, when I'm in my lowest place, I run straight to God. And some people are like, when I'm in my lowest place, I run away from God. And I'm definitely that one. So when life is loud, I literally just forget that I don't need to do it alone. How do you listen to God when your life is loud?
I think I just spend a lot more time looking for him and seeking him, admitting that my flesh is weak and I don't know what I'm doing. I think when there's chaos and when it's loud, it's usually my weakness. It's usually like my insecurity coming out. It's usually spiraling anxiety. So just being more upfront with him about it and talking to him about it is helpful for me. I am the opposite. I run to him so when I'm feeling that way. So yeah.
What rhythms help you stay connected to your calling in survival seasons? For me, it's staying in my normal rhythms.
Yeah.
Like staying in my routine, because otherwise I will run. So if I'm going to stay connected, I got to stay committed.
I love that. I need to make a routine.
I mean, my routine is just going to work. I don't have a life.
I don't actually know what I do. I do go to my people. I go to you. I go to Dustin. I go to my My wise counsel ladies at church. Yeah.
What boundaries protect your calling?
I think I'm learning mine right now. Yeah. I don't think I have any good, clear examples right now, but I think I'm learning mine right now in this season.
I think for me, it's just like trying to stay true to who I am. Like, a lot of people tell me that I'm not like the wild, crazy youth pastor. Yeah. And I know that about me, and I know that I'll never be that. So it's just reminding myself that I can still do my job and do it well without changing who I am. Yeah. And like, it's in other aspects too of just not being willing to change who I am to make someone else see something in me that isn't part of my calling or the direction that I want for my life at all.
I think that's a good one. I think I second that too, actually. I do feel like that's like probably the key to what I'm discovering right now. Yeah.
All right.
That's a good one. Okay.
It's time to wrap up.
Okay.
Question for the listeners. So this is for you guys to reflect on this week. What does it mean to be called by God right now, not in some future, more put together version of your life?
That's a great question for people to reflect on, actually.
Yeah. I was like, I don't have an answer right now for myself. I would need to process this one.
No, this is like one that you sit down and you drink coffee and you read your Bible in the morning. Yeah. And you just ask him, what does it mean? Well, guys, we'll see you next week.
See you later. Bye.
Wednesday.